Well, it happened. It finally happened. After all this time, Skye has finally made her way into the meta. I thought I'd never see the day. There was a point where Dissipate was sorta getting ran in the meta, but not really, so I'm not gonna count that. And outside of that, I can't really think of a time where you could call Skye meta. Until now. I have been seeing a lot of Skye. Skye's been doing very well in casuals, ranked, and even scrims from what I've seen and personally experienced, both when playing as her and against her. So what happened to Skye? What's responsible for her sudden rise? Well, there's a few factors. So first, we have the buff to Smoke and Daggers. They made it so Smoke and Daggers heals allies for 200 health with Smoke Bomb and gives a 1 second longer duration. But the big thing is they made it so Skye's Smoke Bomb card effects also apply to allies with this talent. So you of course combo this talent with a good loadout. You get Healing Vapors at level 5, so then you're healing yourself for 675 a second, and healing allies for 800, 750 a second, since the card stacks with the 200 talent healing. Then you run Confound at level 4 or 5, so your poison bolts can reset your Smoke Bomb. With the talent, the Smoke Bomb lasts 4 seconds, and with Confound 4, hitting all 3 poison bolts reduces the 10-second smoke screen cooldown by 6 seconds. So as long as you're smoke bombing first and poison bolting second, you can have 100% uptime on your smoke bombs. You could also run Confound at 5 and buy Chronos to get multiple smoke bombs out at once. They don't stack on top of each other, but you could throw them to different people if you wanted to do that. Now those are the big things, but if you wanted a full loadout though, what I run is Dissipate 3 so I make myself and my teammates faster. If you're running Confound at 4 instead of 5, then I'd run Dissipate at 4. Then I use Poisoner 1 and Spectre 1 as fillers. Spectre 1 gets a ton of value if you have teammates with low ammo counts, like Andro, Bomb King, Ash, etc. Outside of all that, there's also of course the Cauterize nerf. Cauterize went from 90% at max to 75%, so it's weaker throughout the entire game than it was before, making it more difficult for the enemy to counter your healing. On top of that, Illuminate was nerfed too, so they can't see you from as far away now. Now, there are 2 ways to play Skye with Smoke and Dagger. If you're purely flanking, then you find a target, throw your Smoke Bomb at your feet, and you 1v1 them. And there really isn't a whole lot they can do on their own. Skye has good damage, a ton of healing, and a stealth, so odds are you're not going to be losing any pure 1v1s. Now depending on how early it is in the game, you could even 1v2, but that really depends on those enemies not being bursty characters, and we'll talk about bursty characters against Skye later on. The other way to play Skye is to follow around your off-tank when you have a 2-tank team, and you basically keep them and yourself healed up while pumping damage into enemies, especially enemy front lines, since poison bolts are percent damage. I do want to mention that this takes a lot of stress off your main healer, because that's 2 members of the team they don't have to worry about healing as much. Main healers still need to keep you and your off-tank in mind of course, and to be looking out for you, but they don't need to put quite as many resources into you guys. Also, in case you couldn't have guessed, your team still needs a main healer along with Skye. Skye's healing is not enough to sustain a team in an even game. Skye's a great off healer without a doubt, but not a solo healer. Now what's Skye best against? Tank wise, since you have percent damage, you do really well against Nara, Makoa, Rom, Ruckus, stuff like that. Wide, easy to hit tanks that don't really have good barriers to defend themselves with. Makoa does have a good barrier, but he's a big circle and his ultimate doesn't like poison bolts too. As far as DPSs, anything that isn't super bursty or AoE is gonna struggle against Skye. They don't really have the tools to take her down through all that healing, so they will likely get rolled before they end up getting enough items. Now burst characters like Leon for example, put out a lot of damage very quickly and it doesn't give Skye a ton of time to heal. If there are multiple bursty characters on the enemy team, you're gonna get focus fired the second you start attacking and reveal yourself. So you have to play way safer and opportunistically against them. AoE characters are also something Skye really struggles against. Smoke Bomb is a big stationary circle. It doesn't move, so blasters can spam that circle and force you out of it or kill you, since no matter where in the circle you stand, you're going to get hit and you're going to get caughted. It doesn't really matter to them if you're invisible or not. Bomb King with Royal Subjects will spam bombs at you. Drogos can fire spit salvo you or combustible you out of the circle. Willow can dead zone your circle and spam you with her primary. Dread can spam you with his primary, spam you with broadside so you can't stay in the circle, spam you with scuttle, throw an abyss spike at you. He can do a lot of things against you basically. Of course, on the flip side, like I said, anything that doesn't have quick burst or bursty AoE is easy to fight. Skye reminds me a lot of Rom right now. Both are oppressive and difficult to deal with if you don't have things that directly counter them. But if you do have counters, you can deal with them rather easily. Or at the very least, you force them into playing way safer and slower, and that of course limits their overall potential. So Skye is in the meta, without a doubt, but Skye isn't this unstoppable force that you're going to be banning every time or anything. Skye has a place and is a powerful character, and currently, since not many people really know how to deal with her, you could pick her rather early and do well. But I imagine as time passes, people are going to get more and more used to dealing with her. However, in low elo, I imagine Skye is a super powerful menace that will stay that way as time passes. Also, I've always heard Skye is good on console, at least better than she is on PC. So Skye may be super powerful over there, and may remain to be as time passes. But I don't know, I'm not a console player. Even though Skye is counterable and will probably fall off a bit over time, I do see Skye getting nerfed because I don't think people will get used to her fast enough, and there is of course the low elo thing and the console thing, where Skye will likely stay super oppressive over time if not nerfed. Due to Skye's design, it seems like Skye will really always be that kind of character who's too good in some aspect of the game, or too weak in some aspect of the game. It seems really difficult to put her in a good state across the entire game. Hopefully, despite whatever ends up happening to Skye, the character still remains in a good spot. While I do understand that Skye can be pretty crazy right now, it is really nice to see her be useful for once. That's not something I would want to see go away. I just wish the character was more well-rounded, but that's probably impossible to make happen without some kind of soft reworks. And by soft reworks, I mean messing with abilities but keeping their core attributes the same so it doesn't feel like a completely different ability. A good example of a soft rework is what they did to Shaolin's Planted. Anyway, we'll see how things go with Skye, but for now, what do you guys think of Skye? Let me know in the comments below. Also in the comments, if you could let me know if you're on PC or console when you talk about her, so I can of course gauge the difference between the two more effectively, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it guys. I want to thank you all for watching, I very much appreciate it, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.